Hello everyone, today we are gonna be playing Escoffier with Gaming, and with that let's get into the games. So, today we have a new patch and new cards, and this time I thought I would actually introduce the characters sooner than waiting until week 3 of the update. And I finally upload a video where I explain a character, which is a little bit late, but this time I decided we can do a double whammy with Escoffier and Gaming, because I realized there's a funny little combo that works together with two characters, and this way I don't actually, well, wait until far into the future for explaining the new characters. Let's quickly go over the character kits. Don't worry, this video is going to be short. Well, short as in I'm only going to have 3 different replays in the video, because I'm gonna be explaining 2 different characters. So in this first game there's going to be a lot of yapping, and in the following games I'm going to simply explain what the deck is about. So let's start with Escoffier. Normal attack, well, firstly Fontaine, Cryo, Spear, you know, all the basic stuff. Normal attack is normal attack, nothing special about that one. Skill is a summon. Of course, people probably first thought Escoffier would be another Cryo buffer like Shenhe, but I mean, honestly, if we had 2 different Cryo buffers, even I can see that would have been far too ridiculous, because I mean, Shenhe already can provide basically a double buff, because the skill and the burst are counted as separate buffs, and if Escoffier could increase that damage even further, you know, gameplay accurately by simply playing the skill, it would be quite ridiculous. But instead Escoffier simply has to put it this is Cryo Oz. This does exactly what Oz does with visual skill does exactly what this does, except that one is Electro, this one is Cryo. That's the skill. It is Cryo Oz. You deal 1 Cryo damage, you get a summon with 2 usage that deals 1 Cryo damage. Then the burst, 1 damage, heal 2 HP for all characters, so basically I think Gene Burst is similar to this, except it gives you a summon and doesn't do immediate damage. So all in all, and of course Escoffier actually does have 11 base HP. Of course now Mona has shaved 1 off here already with the skill before I pause the game. Then we have the passive skill, which is right here. Creates 1 cooking mech, and when you or your opponent triggers cryo related reactions, you get a random food 2 times. And there are 4 different random foods. If I remember correctly, we are going to see all of them in the course of these following replays, so we'll go them over at that time. Maybe noticeable parts about Escoffier: you can basically use her as a visual replacement, since, like said, the elemental skill does basically the exact same thing as Visual's elemental skill, and Visual is mostly played for her elemental skill. Of course, Visual being Electro, she's a bit more a better choice, for example, Swirl decks with Maku Kengi, because Maku Kengi of course can apply the Cryo itself with the Cryo summon. But using Escoffier as a visual replacement is a perfectly valid option. For example, maybe with Lini Escoffier combo could work, where you do basically the same trick you would do with Furina Lini combo, where you can get that double vaporize to a same character. With Escoffier you can do the same combo, but it's a double melt to the same character. Quite a lot of damage. And secondly, of course, Escoffier, because her passive skill creates you foods. These, of course, are cards not initially in your deck, so anything that likes those, for example, the Melusine Sword is an easy one to point out. The Melusine Sword, for example, likes this, so maybe if you combine Escoffier with, maybe not with Geo, no wait, hold on, you have a good summon, you can absolutely use this with even Geo characters, because Melusine Sword is, it's either like Noel, Ito, Navia in some circumstances can be said to be good, but now with the increased HP I would say Noel is a better choice, or you know, well, any Melusine Sword actually. It's been proven that almost any character that can equip the Melusine Sword is good with the Melusine Sword, so Escoffier can be used as a Melusine Sword deck character to get a couple easy stacks for that one. Then let's hop on to gaming. Well, gaming. I'm going to call him gaming because that's funnier. Normal attack is a normal attack, of course, a Claymore character from Liyue. Elemental skill, deals 1 pyro damage, switches to your next character, attaches this funny thing to your character, this Wusho arts, and of course we are going to see that later. But when you have Wusho arts and you start your turn on this character, or you fast action switch to the character. What is the actual wording here? Before your character chooses an action. So basically, at this, when you start your turn, or you fast action switch to gaming, you perform, let's say, enhanced normal attack. This is not, you can see different names, Stellar Rend, Charmed Cloud Strider. Different, but both are normal attacks, both do the same amount of damage, but this one does pyro damage and is considered plunging attack. So the very first thing you can see here, okay, plunging attack, you can, and switching characters, this could be used both with Albedo to buff this one, or you can use why can I not remember the name when I need to remember the name? Hold on, give me a moment. Iana-san, that's the one. Iana-san. Because you switch characters with Gaming, you can use it with Iana-san, though do not try to play Gaming with Iana-san in a way that you could keep the Iana-san buff up forever. It will not work out. And lastly, the Burst. Deals 2 pyro damage, attaches another thing to self with this buff. Elemental skill cost 1 fewer elemental damage and deal +1. And if your character has 5 or more HP, they don't spend usages but take piercing damage. And we are going to see Escoffier's talent card later, but we happen to have the gaming talent card right here, used for the burst. Your plunging attacks deal +1 damage, and when you use an elemental skill, you heal 2 HP once per round. A very strong talent card. Also, I can actually, quick comparison, gaming is basically Kazuha but single target damage. Because with Kazuha, you are, every time you do the skill, you automatically do a swirl. So Kazuha is better for Kazuha and gaming. Kazuha does AoE damage, gaming does single target damage. And yes, playing gaming, stick Edict of Absolution into your deck, equip gaming with Wolf's Greystone and just skill after skill, because each skill gives you a free normal attack, and when you have a weapon, that's +2 damage for each attack. without any extra modifiers like what Wolf Gravestone can give you extra damage when the opponent has only a little HP left. And yes, the 3 cost burst is absolutely balanced. For what I've seen so far, Gaming is going to be part of the meta, Escoffier is going to be there, but she will not be top tier. And of course the last character we've had, the Rock Guy. I have not played the Rock Guy, I cannot speak for the Rock Guy. Anyway, now that I have finally yapped of the new characters, of course we are going to come back to Escoffier's talent card later when we get it, along with the foods, along with how the Gaming funny name character status works. We are going to see them in the games. So yeah, let the game go on. So this deck was quickly put together at the start of the patch. We have just a couple weapons, nothing special really. This deck is reliant on Escoffier talent card and Gaming clutching the fuck up. And that's basically it. Dory is here of course because she firstly brings Electro and Superconduct is a good reaction to do AoE damage. Also she gives you a summon which goes well with Escoffier's summon because you get that guaranteed Superconduct. And Dory is a Claymore character, so whatever weapons you run for Gaming you can also equip onto Dory.
Delved into destiny.
And yeah,
ready to spice things up.
That's basically all. And of course the Dory summon is actually good for Gaming to get the burst easily. Of course with this deck, I suppose I can go over the game plan. The idea is to get Escoffier's talent card, but basically do not go to Gaming almost ever until you have Escoffier's talent card. You just Escoffier's skill, Dory's skill to get that nice bit of damage going on with the summons and the Superconduct reactions, and then when you have a free weapon, you have Escoffier's talent card, you go in with Gaming who will sweep the game. Here's actually a quick pause. The first food card you saw there, we triggered cryo-related reaction, and we got the first of the 4 foods, Wave-Kissed Sands. All of your characters gain satiated, so the same thing as with Sing Your Heart Out. Also this thing has been nerfed to only give you 2 cards. So actually I could, well now I'm talking of 2 things at the same time. Okay, quickly. Sing Your Heart Out has been nerfed to only give you 2 cards. Now it's only good when played in decks where you want to switch your character often. If your deck is the type, for example my opponent's deck, they still want to switch characters often, playing this thing in that deck is still pretty good. But for example my deck, I don't actually switch characters that much. This was when I first made this deck. This was the very first deck with the new characters I've made this patch. The very first Arena of Champions challenge I completed this patch, and well, I probably would change Sing Your Heart Out to something else in this deck, because I came to the conclusion that you don't often need it, but it's still good sometimes. But anyway, let's talk about the Escoffier food. So, all your characters get satiated and spend 1 fewer elemental die when using an elemental skill. Maybe the big points about this one. We have the fish and chips, which is basically the same thing as this food, but there's 2 differences. Fish and chips does not last over rounds. Wave-Kissed Sands, the effect lasts over rounds. And I think we get to see it here in this game if I remember correctly. I play the card here and we see that the
Get over.
Actually, I might have forgotten this was not the game where I played, but basically if I play now, then the discount effect will stay for the following round.
Is there time
So
to
this
sneak in
thing is
some
only
dumps
really
first?
good to get when all of your characters are alive.
Congratulations.
There quickly we use the skill. Now that would have switched me to Dory or to Escoffier, but both are dead, so we stay on gaming. There we see the effect, which immediately does the norm attack here as my round or my turn commences. You can see an immediate normal attack. Of course the damage and heals were from Lutine's goodwill. And the Wolf's Greystone makes sure that we finish off Mona here. Yeah, I actually played I played Mystic Soup instead of the Wave-Kissed Sands here, but basically this thing the discount lasts until it is used. We'll check the second food card in the next round. Let's once again quickly pause the game. While we now have Escoffier's talent card in hand, we are actually going to see it in action in later games, so we are going to skip over it for now. The second of the 4 food cards Escoffier's passive skill can give you, Gilded Hall, the best food card you can get, of course depending on the deck. If you are doing heavy setup, then the Wave-Kissed Sands is probably something you want, but if you are in most decks you want to do more damage than your opponents. At least in my deck, this is a very aggressive deck. So Gilded Hall, which during this round the character does +2 damage the next time. This is just free cryo resonance as a food. Really good because it's free +2 damage. I don't think I don't remember whether I played here or not, but it's a one-time use +2 damage.
Coming at ya.
Oh yeah, I actually do play it. So here I play it. I play the talent card as well. Do just enough damage to take out Navia. You can see there the damage up effect disappeared, so it is indeed a one-time use. And then my opponent does some basic Navia struggling, aka playing bullets. And then we just do the skill. You can see it only costed 2 dice. I had 6 dice there, and I took 1 damage. It was because of this one. No, actually, did I take... Well, anyway, you saw there, it worked. It was cheaper because of the burst. Anyway, let's get into the next game, and I actually explain the game plan here. So, what is the game plan of this deck? Well, at the very start, my idea was very simple. I was thinking of decks that could use either gaming or Escoffier. When I was thinking of gaming, okay, you do pyro damage and switch to your other character. You want a character that can do a good pyro reaction. Then you are going to do a normal attack. Let's
Come on, let's go.
roll the first dice. Then you want something that can help you buff the normal attack of Garming, because your next Garming attack will be a normal attack, because of the effect the skill grants, the Wushu arts. And Wushu, look at it. Gaming skill into Escoffier's talent card, which now that we can talk about it, it's here, and I think we actually use it in this match. Gaming skill into Escoffier talent card, back to Gaming. That is a high damage combo right there. What does Escoffier's talent card do? Firstly, it does an elemental skill, so it summons the cooking mech, and when your other character uses normal attack, triggers the summons end phase effect once per round, does not decrease usages. So it's basically +1 cryo damage per round when you do a normal attack. And with Gaming, who does a pyro normal attack with as the follow-up to the elemental skill, I realized this combo works very well. And of course, like I mentioned, Dory is here as a backup. You can see that I actually came to the conclusion that trying to get the Gaming skill into Escoffier talent into another Gaming normal attack was a bit too unreliable and not worth it to actually do round 1, so I ended up with this rotation where you actually start with either Escoffier or Dory, you do some setup, and then you do the Escoffier talent card Gaming combo. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, Dory is here for the convenient skill and being another Claymore character. So, the game plan. You want to start with either Escoffier or Dory, and you want to do a skill. Doesn't matter which one, but one of them does a skill. If you have awfully bad dice, you want to do setup. And anyway, if you have you do only one skill with Escoffier or one skill with Dory, you want to do setup. That is the game plan. Of course, in this game I go for full setup because I didn't have any electro dice nor enough Omni dice. The only thing I could have really done was a Gaming skill or tune an Escoffier skill, or tune a lot and a Dory skill, but I thought I had double Liben, so might as well go for that one. Now round 1 setup complete. Of course, in this game, my card luck is insane. Double Leave It To Me and double Gamblers. Where is my Wagners and such? Nowhere to be seen, of course. But I do have Escoffier's talent card, so we now go for that one here. Of course, discounted by the Golden Troops reward. Like so.
A little amuse-bouche. Gotcha.
My opponent running a very interesting adventure deck. I understand Amber, I understand Escoffier, but Yelan is an odd choice in my opinion. Here I get lucky with Providence because it means I can skill switch back to get the normal attack. And here you're actually going to see Escoffier's talent card activate.
Is there time
Like
to sneak in
so,
some
we
tinsel
do a
first?
normal attack and Escoffier's talent card activates the summon. Also, I got really lucky with getting double Gilded Hall here. Of course, that means we do not get to see the other two foods quite just yet.
So, what's the deal?
And then because of that Providence, I have enough dice to even switch back to Dory to activate the Heart of Calvarina. And my summons finish off Yelan, so there's no fear of Dory being frozen here. Also, I came to a conclusion because how Gaming works, it's just good to have a lot of extra dice. So, and I came to the conclusion that the round 1 setup with this deck is very good, which is why I'm also running Paimon in this deck. There we see the Wave-Kissed Sands played by the opponent. Of course, still something we have already seen. I go for a skill here because of course the skill switches me back to Dory, and this way, now that if Amber does anything with the Aqua Simulacra like an increased normal attack, Gaming doesn't need to tank that damage. Of course they go for the talent card, and I'm here a little skeptical whether they have, you know, something like gladiators to actually do a normal attack to activate the talent card from Amber, because that would be quite the scary skill coming from my opponent. So I do full setup here and end my round first. Of course, because my opponent played a talent card, the Wave-Kissed Sand effect is still there, so we get to actually see it when the following round comes, it's still there. Now let's see, yes, you can see it's still there, even though the round has changed, so it can indeed be used to, for example, do setup if you get the food early.
In over my head.
Also a quick mention, gamblers with gaming, there's something you need to keep in mind. If the normal attacks or the burst takes out an opponent, then you want to have the gamblers on gaming. If you have a character alive aside from gaming and you kill a character with the skill, your gladiator must be on the other character. This is the same thing with, I believe Kazuha has the same thing, that if you kill someone with the skill and you switch characters, you have another character alive and the skill switches you to that character. Gamblers on gaming or Kazuha doesn't actually proc, the gamblers should be on the other character. That's just something you need to keep in mind, which skill is going to take out the opponent. In this case it was the normal attack, so the gladiator on gaming worked out. Here of course going for the skill.
Let it rain.
Opponent goes for a burst. I think going for a normal attack would have been better, because I would have definitely switched to Escoffier to tank the Baron Bunny activation from the talent card. Going for the burst, now I can tank all the damage with Escoffier, because I'm going to deal enough damage that the opponent is below the Aqua Simulacra damage bonus HP. Except they actually get to heal.
My head.
So now it looks a little scary for me, but don't worry, I have 6 dice, I have gaming here, and like said, when you only have gaming alive, doing the skill is the same as doing 2 attacks. And when you have a weapon, that's going to be 5 damage for 3 dice. Not to mention I have Wolf's Gravestone, actually no, here I have Forest Regalia, so it's actually only 5 damage, but with Wolf's Gravestone or such you can increase that even further. On to the last match of today. So yeah, if you haven't actually guessed by this point, these are just the first like few opponents that were actually running somewhat recognizable decks, so I decided to pick them for these replays. This video was kind of rushed by my standards. Usually I spend longer times finding more interesting matchups, but this time we are going to just face a second star deck here from Mr. White or Mrs. White or just White, and this time running even the increased max HP. In this case I didn't feel like going for double Paimon. I kind of considered there with the gaming switch I could go for double Paimon, But I decided to just do one skill because that's what my dice was, and then I'm going to play the Paimon here at the end.
Hold the line.
My opponent, of course, being fully able to heal every bit of damage I just did there, and I even cleansed the pyro off, so kind of pointless. So in that regard, the double Paimon would have been better here, but
Ready to spice things up.
it doesn't really matter. By the way, Rightful Reward on Escoffier, excellent choice for stall decks. Outside of stall, probably not really needed, but Escoffier works as a great replacement, for example, Barbara, if you are running Rightful Reward, because the +2 heals which you can get very often with the Rightful Reward is much better than trying to strategically play Barbara Burst to maximize the game
Off to the
HP.
freezer.
Of course, the benefit of doing the skill round 1, I can now do a Gaming normal attack
Is there time to
with
sneak in some dim sum
Escoffier's talent card here. For quite a lot of damage, and look at that, we get the Gilded Hall once again, even in this match.
Sorry,
And
pal.
I have just enough dice to here. I actually get double Gilded Hall even in this match, but if I remember correctly, my
Start my
opponent is
warm-up
going to
routine.
play one of the other yet unseen foods in this game. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, and I'm just going to quickly explain the other 2 food cards at
Must
the
learn from
end
flames,
of this
please.
match. But yeah, this deck, very simple. I wouldn't say this is good against very aggressive decks. Also, you are like most of the combo, like to be fair, this deck, this is a Gaming deck. Escoffier is just here to provide a nice little combo with the talent card. Dory is here just because it happens to fit the Gaming Escoffier combo. There my opponent played Gilded Hall as well.
Ready to
So
spice
still
things up.
yet to see the other 2 food cards, but trust me, I will at least explain them here at the end. Here you get to see the Escoffier Burst. Well, next round. I do actually use it here, trust me. I just don't remember the order anymore. Of course, the idea with playing Paimon here instead of going for the burst was the fact that I want my opponent to spend their possible fast action switches and dice so that I can use Gaming to actually deal damage.
Let's see.
But since they don't fast action switch, I can just burst
Go of
with
excellence.
Escoffier and heal Gaming back up. Of course, we want Gaming to have HP because of the burst effect of not consuming usages when having more than 5 or more HP.
The pinnacle of excellence.
And that's basically what I meant with the Escoffier running Rightful
Got it.
Reward. Like,
I'll start my warm-up routine.
they already have an energy back.
Mighty mythical beast.
It is simply put a very effective strategy to play Escoffier with the
Congratulations!
Rightful Reward. Also quickly you can see here, because I had less than 5 HP, one of the Manjai usages was spent here, doing that cheapened elemental skill. You can probably guess that I'm gonna be the one on the winning end of this deck, well, not deck, match, ever since Kokomi got taken out, because like Escoffier's burst, because of the rightful reward, is the only thing they can use for damage. Sejuin, well, can do damage with the burst, but at this stage it's quite unlikely that they can do anything meaningful. Once again, going for the Dory burst for the heal and the energy, even though we don't need the energy anymore on Gaming, but the heal is still very nice.
But my patience need me.
Alley-oop.
And my opponent didn't
Utensils
actually
at the ready.
still hasn't played any of the other food cards from Escoffier other than the ones we have already seen. So maybe I do have to explain the last two we have not seen yet.
A burst of flavor.
Kokomi revived, even instantaneously healing the
what's
5
the deal?
HP, quite something, but
Off to the
now they
freezer.
are out of dice, meaning that this will be my game. I can finally
Is there time to sneak in some dim sum first?
play the... Actually, I don't even
isn't
need to play the
right.
Gilded Hall, but
Hop
no,
to
I
it,
don't
Bonsai.
play it. Really. I was pretty sure I will. Oh no, we are combining that.
Alley-oop.
There we play it. And we win the last game. But before I end this video, I'll quickly mention the other two food cards we did not get to see that the Escoffier's passive skill can create. We saw the Gilded Hall, that's +2 damage. We saw the Waved Kiss Sands, which is -1 discount to a skill, which persists throughout rounds until used. We have a Verdant Gift, which is +1 damage to your character's next attack. So each character's next attack does +1 damage. That is the Verdant Gift, if I remember correctly. And it costs 1 dice to play. And then we have Autumn Frost, a 0-cost food card, heals the character for 1 HP and gives them 1 max HP. So it's +2 heals, 0 cost. +1 HP, +1 max HP. And with that, I have quickly gone over Escoffier and Gaming with this nice little deck. You can try it out. From what I've seen, it works against Stahl because the Gaming is just... I mean, my prediction is going to be Gaming will be the new character this meta. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.